morning he lied. It persistented down all night, but the campsite was rather nice. It had everything we needed. Most of what you want to do is outside today, and that's not going to happen. So we're going to make it a travelling day and kind of double back ourselves a bit and head off ultimately to Bamborough, where we know there's an overnight that we can get. Well, we are in the Chantry Museum and Tourist Information Centre. It is absolutely sideways raining out there. We've managed to find ourselves a free space for a couple of hours, and we're going to go and have a look around. And apparently this is where we can see some Northumberland pipes. We are literally the only people here, and we come upstairs and there's plenty of displays and things explaining how bagpipes work. A lot of history about them here. It's a lovely use of this old building. But we're literally the only people here. I'm somewhat drawn to this display here. I've not brought the Steadicam with me, despite Sal's better idea. I failed dismally there. Yeah, didn't know there's so much to know about them. I think it's time to have a stop and read of some of this. Well, I was kind of half hoping there was a kind of, a have a go, but I think in fairness I've got the musical talent of a brick, so perhaps it's just why there wasn't a have a go. We're off to Barter Books, which is pretty famous, and we've only got about half hour, 40 minutes there because car parking is tight, and we've sneaked into Lidl's next door, and it's also still persistenting it down sideways. A very interesting journey here. We're good to go. Let's explore. Well, this place is absolutely amazing. I've had to put a tracker on Sal. Thank you, sir. Well, I'm going to Loser. It used to be the old railway station, and there are books upon books upon books, and after that there's more books and a very popular cafe with a big queue. There even smells of steam in here because clearly that's where it used to be. Brilliant, what a place. Well, how many books does one person need? Loads of chairs for people just to sit down and read as well, which is utterly awesome. I'm not sure if there's a one-way system in here, but if there is, thank you. I absolutely promise I'm going the wrong way because that's just how it works. And somewhere in here, I have a wife. Well, I could spend a whole lot of time in here, but quite frankly, it's just rammed, which is lovely to see. But I've just found a little train set. Unfortunately, by dint of being quite tall, I might be able to get some video of that for us. Made back to the van and on to Bamborough, we think. An amazing place, absolutely huge, heaving, worth a visit. Car park very tight. We've had an adventure. We went to Bamborough and we found that the car park down there, I think it's called Link's car park, there's now spaces for camper vans, that you need to pre-book with a QR code, and we thought, oh, that's okay, it's 12 quid, it's, not much of a view, but let's support it. And we did the QR code thing and went through this and that and that and this, and then we did some more of that and this, and then some this and that. And after all that, the spaces that are that car park were full, and it offered us some in Morpeth, which is A, 20 miles away, and B, where we've just come from. So Park for Night came up trumps and found us a place called Belfield, I believe. Belford, I was close. And we stopped at the Sunny Hill Deli Bistro and restaurant, which is absolutely incredible. I mean, it is just a car park, don't get me wrong, but the food in there smells divine. We've succumbed to best part of £14 of their finest product. And that's a bit of a win-win because the local business is now significantly better off. We've spent our money with them. And what a fantastic place. The staff are mega friendly, very supportive. And this is going to be, I think, one that we will come back to again. But in the meantime, there are some very nice out of the oven fresh pies, smelling rather nice just behind me. So this is going to wrap it up for tonight. So it's been ridiculous. We've had to turn around at one point for floodwater, and it's done nothing but rain all day long. But we have food and somewhere warm and dry, and that will do us for the evening. So tomorrow we'll catch you again. Hopefully it won't be raining as much. Well, good morning from Sunny Hills, where we had a very pleasant and quiet overnight. They are doing, well, not Sunny Hills, but there's some housing development going on beside us. But they didn't start till about 8 o'clock, so that's not too bad. It is no longer raining. It is mildly miserly, I think is the best we could say. Overnight development, the fridge decided not to work on gas, and we've had a brief look around the internet, but I think we're going to fix that when we get back to base. It'll work on 12 volt, it works on mains. It's sparking as it should, but we just aren't getting gas through to it. So either a little valve stuck somewhere, but I'm not going to start messing about with it all the way up here. And if need be, we'll get it looked at professionally, and that as well. Right, a bit of a mixed plan today. On a campsite tonight, we'll plug in and all such like there, and we'll see what happens. But there is blue sky up there, to be fair, so we live in hope. We've arrived at Chainbridge Honey Farm. Headquarters of the Chainbridge Honey Farm, operated here since 1948. It's a very eclectic kind of thing. There's all sorts of weird static things, lots of army stuff, lots of old industrial stuff, and a cafe. Well, whilst the sun's intermittently shining at least, we're going to go visit the Chainbridge. Restored, opened again April 1923, took just about 3 years to totally rebuild. They took it down, repaired it, rebuilt it back in place. We can't drive over it in the van because we're 3.3 tonne gross, so we're too heavy for the 2 tonne limit. But it says here we can walk down to it. It links England with Scotland over the River Tweed. Oh my word, so we're going to cross the border then, fair enough. And it says we can walk down here for about 5 minutes, and that should do it. I think we could describe that as somewhat Arctic. It's juffing cold. However, we have found the bridge. And we are on one side, and it will go over there. And it'll be open another couple of years, well, another year or so, isn't it, since it was restored? Yeah, about a year. Over here, we have a statue of someone or another. So let's go and find out who said statue is. But just before we do that, I think we're going to find out here. In 1820, the Union Chain Bridge became the first chain link iron suspension bridge open in Europe. The oldest vehicle carrying suspension bridge in the world. Hey, let's not hang about then. Designed by Samuel Brown, so I'm guessing that'll be he. An entrepreneurial naval captain and self-taught engineer. Wowza. I am currently in England. I am about to go and invade Scotland. I hope they're ready. And throw another log on the radiator. I'm going to walk slap down the middle. Oh, I see. Right. I'll get a little bit closer so these things are eye level, and I've just worked out what the chain link thingy is. Let's have a look across here. That one's not too far from eye level. Let's try that. So they basically are very long, thin chains, not sort of chains we'd kind of associate as a chain, but non-less chains that have held together these giant rivet things that the bridge is then suspended off of. Right, bear with me whilst I continue across the rest of the bridge. I hope the Scots are ready. There's a kind of centre joint thingy here, so some engraving on it. There's an informative plaque. Constructed 1820, refurbished 2022. Keep on strolling. There's a car coming down. I might have to move out the way. This might halt my invasion of Scotland. Scotland welcomes you, but only if you're in vehicles of the appropriate size and dimension. Oh, there's a nice echo. Apparently there's a toll house at the other end here, but we'll see if we can find that. The National Transport Trust, Union Bridge. The longest of all time suspension bridge in the world. And if we keep going, I do believe we are now in Scotland. And let's see who this chap is that's going to welcome us. Welcome to Berwickshire. There we go then, Pam's been on an international journey. I'm guessing these will be the people that refurbed it, because he doesn't look very new. An imagined contemporary engineer, a representative of the diverse range of people involved in the restoration. Okay, and here is somebody actually using said bridge. Right, well, I've invaded Scotland. I'm going back to England. Well, that's it. I made it back across, back into England, totally unscathed. And I'm guessing this would have been the toll house, because I've been across the other side and there certainly isn't anything that looks like the picture there. So my money's on this being the toll house then. Well, it's a very comprehensive museum, far bigger than we thought. Somewhat surprisingly, there's a whole lot of information here about the capture of the Enigma machine in World War II. Then we've got plenty down here. There's loads of information here about previous beekeepers. A lot of history's gone into here. Little player for the kids. I'm just only filming here when there's nobody else in the room. I don't want to upset anybody. Loads of artifacts down here. And of course it wouldn't be complete without a beekeeping suit now, would it? And there's even more through here. It is a very impressive place. Information on just about every kind of bee I think ever existed. Never knew there were that many sorts. I suppose that's the point of coming to a place like this. Loads of information. There's a photo exhibition next door. I'm not going to film in there. I wouldn't want anyone to do it to mine. An amazing amount of work that's gone into this. We've come into the last room here, and there's a whole lot here about the bridge and people involved in it, including this rather chunky lump down here, which I can pick up, granted at arm's length at the moment. You sure as heck know you've done it. And that's what holds the chain section together, this link with a pin going through. A whole load of people here from the history of the area. Also a rather beautiful mural up the top, which I'll go up for. All the way across here. There's a lot of work up there. Out here, the big opening ceremony. Look at that. Lots of diagrams. And possibly one of the most unusual bridges I've seen. Step back a bit here. A knitted bridge. Made by the Horncliffe hookers. And why not? Well, here we are at Riverside for the evening. We got here just a few minutes before 2 o'clock and they're kind enough to let us on pitch. It's a lovely place. There's a relatively busy road beside us. We're down the embankment, truly as it says, overlooking the river. And we'll settle in for the night, have something to eat, and we enjoyed our trip to the honey farm. That was quite a place, to be fair. Didn't expect it to be that good. And of course the bridge where I went and invaded Scotland, and they rejected me. Right, that's it for tonight. Tomorrow is another day and hopefully it has sunshine in it. It's Friday the 5th of April. I'm not saying it's wet out there, but this is our next door neighbour. And I don't think we'll be going out our side step today, somehow or another. Anyhow, we have a new friend. Seems quite happy to be here. Off to a church or chapel of some description today. It's famous for some very intricate interior decoration. There you go, there's my little friend. That's it, mate, off you go. Well, it's occasionally doing a little bit of drizzle. It's not too bad, but up there, look up there, yeah, blue sky. We need to get ourselves travelling. It's 9:15 now, need to be off by 10. Sal's working out the map. Everything's on charge and we shall get ourselves gone. Time to go indoors then. No dogs inside the chapel, please. Okay, I think we can manage that. Please ensure doors are properly closed, or the sensor lights remain working. Mind the steps. Welcome to the Chapel of Holy Trinity, Old Buick. Well, here is the actual spectacular part of this chapel. As we approach, I need to let the light's not fantastic in here, but that is rather beautiful. I don't think I've ever seen something like that in a church before. We do know that one of the accesses to this place was by a thing called a clapper bridge. And a clapper bridge was quite literally a large lump of stone basically slapped across whatever it was trying to cross. It's simple and effective. And so there's plenty of rain coming there. It rained again last night. I've no idea where that path goes now, but the fact that bridge's got a big groove in it shows it was really well used. Well, it's a beautiful place. There's a lady in there getting everything ready for a baptism tomorrow. The most recent gravestone we found was actually just from last year, 2023, but as I go around here, Here's a rather interesting design. I'd love to know what the story is behind that, if anyone knows it. Anyhow, we'll go around a little squelch. There's of course the yew trees. And the yard, and of course this is a curved wall here because that's where we've just been. Quite a substantial churchyard. Oh, and a pheasant over there having a wander around. So it is quite squelchy, but that's hardly surprising really. May even be able to hear the squelch. That looks remarkably iron to me. Jonathan Steele. Oh, that's rather appropriate then. Jonathan Steele. Right, I think it's time to get back to the van. We don't want to get stuck here because it's literally a one vehicle in, one vehicle out. And we are in one of only 2 parking spaces. So we'd not want to deprive anyone else of their opportunity. Right, back to the van it is, and work out where on earth it is we're going next. But definitely worth a stop off if you're in the area. We have arrived at Amble. We've stopped off at Morrison's, found the Cornish pasties, that's done very nicely. We are down at the harbour now, at a place called Coquet or Coquette. No, Coquette House. Anyway, down at the harbour, there's some very faded beach huts there, which I think I'll go and get a photo of. And it seems to be a working harbour. I'm seeing a reasonable sized fishing vessel there, just tying up. Let's go and have a look, see what we can find. It's actually quite a strange setup here because we're walking on this boardwalk and we've got lots of water off to our right, but there's no way for that water to get there until you realise that the water is actually coming under the boardwalk that we're currently walking on. So that bit over there, basically, you can't get to by boat unless you're a canoe, I suppose, or a lunatic swimmer. Well, Sal has rather sagely decided to stay, appears to be a rather dry spot. Because I want the light where I want the light to be for my photo, I'm going to do the dash. Well, albeit a sedate dash, because dashing sounds like a hell of a lot of work to me. But I just need to get somewhere I can get the lighthouse and maybe some waves. Yeah, missed me, and again. Good try. Yeah, so I want to get the light where I want it for the lighthouse. And that does involve me getting across here, or it has been as we damp a little bit. This is testing the old microphone. I made it across. Now let's see if I can make it back. Now if I get this right, the trick is to read the 7th wave pattern. Now if I get it wrong, I'm going to get very wet. So far so good. Am I going to make it all the way? Do you care? Admit it, you're just watching to see if I do get wet, aren't you? On the home straight. Yay! Both ways dry. Happy days. Well, I'm pretty certain that these people will be very pleased to have made it into the harbour entrance like that. Though, to be fair, the boat's handling it really well, as they're powering their way in rather than sailing. Welcome home, little boat. Welcome home. At risk of going to the old cliche type saying, we are ambling along Amble, in particular the High Street, and we love it here. The great thing about where we are now is there's no major chains. There's a co-op, I'll grant you. There's a small Tesco further down the road, but everything else here is real shops with real people who talk to you and like cash, and it's brilliant. We did notice there seems to be an alliance of 4, I think, fishing boats have got together to create a, I don't know if you call it a cooperative or something, to sell their fish. Seems like a very good idea to keep the harbour alive. And you can do puffing cruises from here as well somewhere. But there the boat's behind us. I don't think it was the weather for doing it today, to be fair. I've got pretty good sea legs, but I don't think I could see the fun in that. Well, that's us for the night then, outside Warkworth. Park for Night's done the business for us. This is what we have around us. And according to previous people that stayed here, barn house hunt over this. So we might get woken up by barn owls. Most things could happen. Well, we had a good night here, very peaceful. Didn't see the barn owls, as somebody from Park for Night earlier promised. We're off to Alnmouth to see what the local council call the smallest museum in the country. It is the Ferryman's Hut Museum. Apparently it is so small that the people that curate it sit outside on a deck chair. Oh well. We've managed to get ourselves parked up. We were about to turn away from this car park because they wanted £10 for campers. And we said, we're not prepared to pay that, we're just going to turn and say, actually, as you got here, we thought you're more of a van. So we've got £3.50 for all day. Behind me is the sea. It is absolutely white horses. It's not misty out, it's just sea mist. It's really, really windy. So we're going to go and walk across to the museum. We have seen it, but we couldn't park anywhere near it. I'm not saying it's windy out here, but even I've got a coat on. It's a lovely big beach. It goes for a hell of a way. The old concrete block sea defences. And we're going, got to admire people with buckets and spades, haven't you? And we're going all the way over there somewhere, along this path. I'd hate anybody to have the misapprehension that we knew what we were doing or where we were going, because we truly haven't. We're just following this path, and we know that if we keep the sea on the left and the building on the right, we'll get to the hut sooner or later, but that's about as far as the plan goes. Right, okay. So much for that plan. Well, when we said follow the path, there we go, that's better. I thought we got lost for a minute there. Here we go. What does that say? Oh, the Ferry Hut. Okay. Well, this looks quite impressive. I'm inclined to believe it could be the smallest museum. And apparently it's obligatory, you do have to sign the guest book. There we go, look at that. The Ferry Hut. Well, let's go in. I don't think it should take I don't think we're going to get lost anyhow. And this was the ferryman's hut. And there indeed is the guest book, which we will of course have to sign. Oh, okay, someone's put a tide chart up as well. I don't know how up to date that is, but there we go, high tide today. Yeah. Right, and this is where he would rest. The Shipwrecked Mariners Society. I love the idea that he repurposed a mine as a collection point for people who get shipwrecked. The irony is not lost. I've just taken a closer look at this clock. I think would be a fair way of putting it. I can only assume it's not working at present because if I'm reading that correctly, it says we've just gone past high tide, assuming it goes clockwise, which I guess a clock probably would. But looking out the window, it reveals it is absolutely nowhere near high tide. Let's have a... There you go, that's not much of a high tide. So I can only assume the clock has stopped. But I've never seen a clock like that before. That quite fascinates me. Something else I've noticed up here, nothing to do with clocks. Let's let the light adjust a moment. There we go. This bottle up here is the remains of what I think used to be a cod bottle. And the groove here, I'm not sure it's terribly well, the groove here was so that if you tipped it one way, the marble came into the neck and stopped things spilling out. And if you tipped it the other way, the marble got caught there and would allow things to flow past. I'll put it back from whence it came. A really ingenious design. They sort of just pinched the neck and put a marble in, and that was a kind of bit of a valve. I've no idea what these things are. I say that a lot, don't I? I've no idea. Anyhow, I've no idea what these things are, but this is one of just 3 that we've seen so far. And taken a lot of effort. I mean, there's a lot of driftwood here. It's only taken some effort. If I swivel around this way, there's another 2 you can see. And the one closest to us on the left there looks like it might have been a fire at some point, but the uprights aren't burned. But there's charred wood in the middle and some sort of tufty grass. But if we keep going this way, you can see how amazingly calm it is once you get into this little estuary bit compared to what's out there. Sorry for videoing in a tunnel, but it's that windy out there, even the dead cat's not going to cope. We're trying to find a giant spoon. Yes, very Monty Python-y. But it's ridiculous wind out. It wasn't fun driving here, but at least it is on the way to tonight's overnight. Hopefully we're not going to get too lost. Hopefully it'll be worth the journey. It is a bit muddy. Don't let that blue sky behind me fool you. It is absolutely blowing a ridiculous gale here. And the path is horrendous. It really is. On the upside I can see a spoon. When the words of Monty Python, found this spoon, sir. That's novel, I'll give it that. Oh. Yeah, I would say unequivocally, assuming you can still hear me of course, that oh my word, is a spoon. Alright, that's it, we've seen it and go now. Well, we've sure landed lucky here. The sky is totally clear. The warden here is into his astrophotography. I'm hoping to get some shots of some stars tonight. The showers are perfect. The toilets are immaculate. I've had a shower, so I'm at least looking like a human these days. And that is the view behind us. I'll take that. Kettle's on, soon be tea time. Time to chill. Well, Sal and I have both just come back from the showers, as just mentioned, and they are so immaculately clean that we both felt guilty about leaving footprints, and we just jokingly said to each other, I used his mop to clean the floor. They may not be fantastically modern, they may not please some people, but you know what? The water was hot, it was plentiful, and the floor was absolutely immaculate. And the guy that looks after him, well done mate, you've done a grand job. We appreciate it. Well, there's a big bright glowy thing up there. I believe it's called the sun. It's also blue sky. It's also still rather windy. Right, off to go visit, or at least look at Prudder Castle. I don't know if we're going to stop or not. And a couple of statues on the way back. And went down merry way back down to Lichfield. Well, the weather's absolutely atrocious. It's sunny. It's intermittent, chucking it down. The wind is horrendous. It's not much fun driving a high-sided in the wind. And we've decided that discretion the better part of valour and all of those things. We're going to make a gentle tootle for home, which is about 4 hours or so away.